Okay, so this is take two. Take two between meals. I'm so sorry. Right, okay. I need to explain at the start, in case you just come across this, I'll be very brief. So I'm Paul Murphy. I'm in the end stage of functional motor neurological disorder. I'm wasting away, so my mouth, I'm going to try and read you a copy of my 2021 book, Paul Murphy's Extremely Unlikely History of the United Kingdom. My jaw keeps seizing up, my fingers will keep dropping the book. I may say bad words when that happens, and my eyes don't work, so I will have to stop and go back. But I'm going to try and do the best I can for you, because I've got to post this book to my children later on today, and this is the last available copy there is. If you watched the preceding video, what are you, masochists? Come back for more? Goodness me, what's happened to my hair here? It's out an electric fire. Yeah, and it's not even Friday night. Sorry. We got up to page 21. So anyway, so we're just we're still in the Neanderthal times, I think, in Great Britain. So that was a recap. About 100 BC, iron bars began to be used as currency, although as each one weighed 29 kilos and was worth more in iron than anything you could buy, it plunged the country into its first recession. In memory of it, British politicians have been holding one every 20 years ever since. Around 50 BC, with both internal trade and trade with continental Europe flourishing, largely due to Britain's extensive mineral reserves, coinage was developed. It was based on continental types then extant, but bearing the names of local chieftains. This was very unfortunate for people who used the currency of Chief Ungawagga Snorkel Flagger Clapperdrad, as his coins had to be 29 inches across just to fit his name on. Can't we just put his first name on? I'm knackered smelting all these letters into his coins. As knackered village smelter Barrack snored. Certainly, replied the chief's right-hand man, Luster Manibus. You'll need to Google it to get the joke. His first name is Pythanstromegaloglit. Oh, fuck me. As in present times. I haven't read this since I wrote it 3 years ago, so I'm going all the show. I can't see my children in the viewfinder there. I do apologise. They're far more important than me. Can you hear the helicopters? This has been a day for the Air Force, or Fred as he's known these days, to fly over. Where do we get to? As in present times, the new method of payment was used exclusively in southeast England, but not in areas such as Dunmonia in the west, where PayPal was favoured. In Liverpool, iron bars remained in use for transactions, as if somebody wanted something you had, they'd hit you on the head with an iron bar and take it. This proud tradition continues to this very day. In Celtic Britain, there were no towns or kippers. Most people were farmers living in villages. They made round houses from wood and mud with thatched roofs. There were no roads. People travelled by boats on rivers or along muddy paths. Celt number 1. Bloody life! At least things can't get any worse. Really? Subchapter: Roman invasion. Circa 55 BC, there was a knock on the door at Dover. Ding dong! I must get that knocker fixed. Yes, can I help you? Hi, we're the Holy Roman Empire. You mean there's a half one? What do you mean? I mean, if you're the Holy Roman Empire, is there a Roman Empire there's only half of one? Or Rom-Emp? No, not holy. Holy. How big are the holes? No, nothing to do with holes. Holy as in, well, holy, gods and stuff. What sort of gods? All sorts. There's Mars, the god of war. Venus, she's the goddess of love. Jupiter, he's the god of the sky. Neptune, pardon me for interrupting, but aren't all these planets? Yes. Do you know about the planets then? Not really. The missus just bought some novelty toilet paper on a day trip to Cleethorpes, and I like to read while I'm sat there, as you do. Don't you have any more plausible gods? What do you mean, plausible? I mean, adjective of an argument or statement seeming reasonable or probable. So you know about grammar then? Not really. Word of the day, toilet paper. We still got some left from the last year's trip. I finally got to pee. Oh, bit of a joke there, get it? Toilet paper, I finally got to pee. Ah, please yourself. Now, see, all these gods are very grandiose, but you must either have got the names of the planets and said, oh yes, Neptune, he can be, I don't know, god of the sea, or by definition, if you're going to say war has a god and love has one, then everything must have one. What about Bert, the god of lard? Or Flo, the goddess of belly button fluff? Do you have any of those? Are you taking the piss, you Cro-Magnon boat Burke? I said that completely wrong. Are you taking the piss, you Cro-Magnon browed Nork? Here, that's a hate crime, that is. I can report you for that. Oh yeah, report me to who? I'll go straight to the bloke in charge of hate crimes. His name is Chief of Plasco completely Yes, sod it, I'll let you off this time. Anyway. Anyway, what can we do for you, you and your scepticism-inducing Holy Roman Empire? We'd like to conquer you. Well, there's only one of me. Haven't you overdone it a bit? Bringing 20,000 soldiers with you? I'm not that hard. Anyway, what have I ever done to you? All right, I've questioned the way you assign names to your gods, but bringing all your mates around to conquer me is a bit much. Couldn't you just have SMS'd me? No, we haven't come to conquer you personally. Well, we have, but not just you, all of you. This is all of me. Oh, no. Look, it's not about you. It's the whole country. Well, except maybe Cleethorpes. This is an invasion. Shh. This is an invasion. Well, that's very kind, but we've already had one. Could you come back later, say sometime in the Anno Dominis? We've got an afternoon free then. Lay a spread on. It'll be nice. Anno Domini, isn't she that strumpet in Belgium? Anyway, who's invaded you then? And before you answer, I mean your country, not you personally. Oh, let me think. It was the Indians. Indians? What Indians? Oh, the tall ones. Terrible it was. Slaughter here, carnage there. I'd invite you in to see, but it's still a bit of a mess. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. You have a safe journey home. I'm not sure I believe you. I think you're just trying to get out of not being invaded. Who, us? No, we love it. We're always being invaded. Some countries won't even invade us anymore because we like it so much. They say we've taken all the fun out of it. Well, can we come in for a whiz then? It's a long way to hold it in for, all the way from Rome. I know we should have gone over the side of the boat, but there's 20,000 of us and we got in trouble the last time we did. Why? Caesar was taking a swim. Well, I'm not sure. You seem like a nice bloke, but so did the leader of the Scottish Celts, and he shoved a lance up me jacksy. Half of it's still there. Shall I show you? No, thank you. Plays me up terrible on cold nights, it does. I got no sympathy from the wife either. All she said was, see, I told you it hurts. Hello, Annie. So you can see my point. So, normal service will be resumed in a moment, folks. We're not one of the two. So, fight to the end, man. So, you can, what voice was I using? So, you can see my point. Well, you can if I bend over. I'm a bit wary of letting people in the village now. Look, I have tried to be nice. But the facts are these. We've trudged all the way from Rome. Everybody's been seasick. It's been pissing down since Belgium. Caesar's on my back since I don't know when BC, moaning that he's still not as famous as Alexander the Great. And half the 5th garrison have got the trots for mistaking rabbit droppings for berries. Like it or not, we're coming in and invading you. Look, we're in advance race. It'll be good for you. Well, apart from the maiming and slaughtering, that is. It's a very nice offer, but it's more than my job's worth. How about you go and invade France? I hear it's very nice there. You know about France then? Only what I've read in Paul Murphy's Extremely Unlikely History of the World Part 1. I like to take a Paul Murphy book into the lab with me, just in case there's no novelty toilet paper left. The self-criticism. We've already invaded France, or whatever it's called at the moment. I'm very happy they were too about it. Well, apart from the maiming and slaughtering bits. No, I'm not taking no for an answer, I'm afraid. How about you put in a written request? I'll pass it on to my boss. He'll discuss it with the Security Council. That's Fred. And I'm sure he'll get back to you really quickly. Can you leave a forwarding address? Oh, and would you like to do a survey on the quality of your call today, please? How about I ask you a question? Have you got any trees? Yes. Have you got any oil? Yes. Right, lads, I've got oil and all the materials to make weapons of mass destruction. Invade away. That's not fair. Remember that 2,000 years from now. As there were no written records in pre-Roman Britain, the earliest writings from the country were in now Roman Britain. Of which the earliest surviving is a page from the diary of Tacitus Butcherum. August the 12th, still in Britannia. Still pissing down. Killed 3,000 Celts today. They're very happy about it. Invasion of Britannia now over. Everybody in Britannia very happy about it. Took the surrender from Chief Agalock today. He was very happy about it. I accepted his kind offer of his head on a pole. Such a happy man. We'll knock his wife tonight. She will be happy about it. Tomorrow we head for Ireland, where we plan to kill everybody we can find. Can predict, without fear of contradiction, they will be very happy about it. Subsequent writings were post-Roman. Saturday morning, AD 410. The empire is in turmoil, attacked from all sides, both internally and externally. The Roman citizens of Britain have appealed to the emperor for help. You can't come in here, invade on the slenderest pretext, overthrow the existing leader, make the locals stand in naked pyramids, then set off. What do you think this is, the 21st century? P.S. Also, it hasn't stopped pissing down since we got here. I did that in the wrong voice. That should have been a Roman writing that. Unfortunately, why did I say that twice? It's the next word I'm having trouble with. Unfortunately, Honorius is in no position to aid them. Rome has just been sacked for losing 3 home games in a row, and he drafted them a reply telling them that they must look to their own defences, fight bravely and defend your lives. You're on your own now. CCing his letter to the Blair and Bush families. We look forward to independence. No doubt it will be a positive experience. Saturday morning, AD 410. Saxons here, Picts there, debauchery and godless living everywhere. Have been ravaged 5 times myself already this morning, and so has the budgie. I offered them the missus, but they were no takers. Bloody Romans, I hope their empire declines and falls. Debates raged about, I'm going to take a second breath in before I start that. I'm missing young Sheldon for this, it doesn't seem a fair swap. Or maybe a Randolph Scott movie. Randolph Scott. Blazing Saddles joke. Reference, not a joke. Debates raged. I'm losing the plot a little bit here. Debates raged about what the Romans did for Britain, apart from naming it, introducing improved agriculture, urban planning, industrial production, architecture, infrastructure, implementation, importing healthy vegetables such as garlic, onions, shallots, leeks, cabbages, peas, celery, turnips, radishes and asparagus, and pelican snooker. Selfish bastards. Pelican snooker. Anglo-Saxon Britain. Honestly, I wouldn't lie to you. I was here, Anglo-Saxon Britain. How are we doing for time here? 13 minutes. You got another 20 minutes of this. I'd take a tablet now if I were you. And then an iPad. As it was pre-Northern Powerhouse, that only works if you remember the pre-austerity years in England. Well, which probably was pre-Roman times. As it was pre-Northern Powerhouse, it was basically Anglo-Saxon England. Ah, I see. Which was very early medieval England, existing without kippers from the 5th to the 11th century, right up until the Norman Conquest in 1066. Jaw's gone again. Not literally, I realise it's still there. I keep looking in the wrong place. I should be looking at you there. When I do that, let's see, so you see. I'm pointing directly at the lens now, but my finger is pointing aft. Where did we get to? We got to about the... This is better in Braille. You want to hear a joke? I had a book of cartoons out. Oh gosh. This has to be 20 years ago now. This is a bit rude. So if you don't want to hear something rude, so, and one of the one of the cartoons that I drew in it, and the caption was porn mag for a blind person, and it was I'd drawn a naked woman's body, and over her breasts in dots I'd dotted the word tits, and over her nether regions I dotted the word fanny. It was funny when you saw it. No, funny. Where do we get to? Right, yeah, so right up until non-conquest in 1066, the Anglo-Saxons were the members of Germanic-speaking groups who migrated to the southern half of the island from continental Europe, and their cultural descendants. Their battle cry was, "One civil war and no World Cups." Between the 8th and 11th centuries, raiders and colonists and a few rabbits from Scandinavia, mainly Danish, Norwegian, some Argentine bleu, that is the name of a genus of rabbit. The pigeons around here are really fast. Where do we get to? Between the 11th and no. Do it again. Between the 8th and 11th centuries, raiders and colonists and a few rabbits from Scandinavia, mainly Danish and Norwegian, some Argentine bleu, plundered Western Europe, including the British Isles. Take all we've got, we won't object. Really, all we want is your carrots. Phew, good luck getting those off the wife. Hello, Aya. In the 860s, instead of raids, in the 8... No, focus. In the 860s, instead of raids, the Danes mounted a full-scale invasion, having tried a 1/32 scale in some toy cars first. In 865, an enlarged army arrived that the Anglo-Saxons described as the Great Heathen Army. This turned out to be the Great Heaving Army, and she decimated all the menfolk in the southern regions. And very pleased about it they were too. I read that so badly. Shall I try it again? Just read this with the CCs on if you're watching on YouTube. Go away! Oh, goodness me. Do I come and read books in their cockpits when they're trying to invade? Oh, I don't know, whatever they invade these days. Cleethorpes, no doubt. Where do we get to here? Oh, yes. In the 860s, instead of raids, the Danes mounted a full-scale invasion, having tried a 1/32 scale first in toy cars. In 865, an enlarged army arrived that the Anglo-Saxons described as the Great Heathen Army. This turned out to be the Great Heaving Army, and she decimated all the menfolk in the southern regions. And very pleased about it they were too. She was reinforced in 871 by the Great Summer Army, although as it was England, it only lasted a week, and even then, not when the kids were off school. Within 10 years, nearly all the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms fell to the invaders. Northumbria in 867, Westumbria in 868, Southumbria in 868, East Anglia in 869, East Anglia on the 3rd of May 869, and nearly all of Mercia in 874 to 77. They left the top bits as they didn't bring a ladder. Kingdoms, centres of learning, archives and public lavatories all fell before the onslaught from the invading Danes. The incumbents were not pleased. Mrs. Garunda Scrab. Here we go again. Every bloody week a new invasion. Romans, Celts, Picts, Celts again, Germanics, Franks, her from number 11, Penguins, garden gnomes. Well, they weren't so bad. Not much in the way of ravaging from them. Now it's the Danes. I've had to learn 15 new languages this week alone, and I never know where I live anymore. One day this is Wessex, the next day it's Danelaw. Me poll tax is up and down like a Viking's pants on payday. Why are you lot called Vikings anyway? Olaf the Norse. I am Viking your vans very much. Let me take them from you. Mrs. Garunda Scrap. That's a weak play on words if ever I heard one. Then it's got a little asterisk and down the bottom of the page in very small point. It says Dictionary by Paul Murphy starring Bertram Debauchery around at the Cleethorpes Empire, 10th to 17th of June 876 AD. Now that's a play on words, folks. Dictionary. You're all so cynical and jaded. The internet has done bad things to you all. How are we doing for time here? 20 minutes. Oh, okay, that's 20 minutes. Goodness me. Okay, that's the foreplay out of the way. Hello, Sue. Between 871 and 899 AD, I've got a comma in the wrong place. I'm going to do that again. Between 871 and 899 AD, Alfred the Great ruled as King of Wessex and successfully defended his kingdom against a Viking attempt at conquest, the only kingdom that did so. Other kingdoms were either subjugated or changed their name to Cleethorpes, so nobody wanted to come near them. Ouch! He is one of only 2 monarchs of England to be given the epithet the Great. As he died of either Crohn's disease or a hemorrhoidal disease, this may have been a shortening of Alfred the Great yelp of pain whenever he sits down. Norman Conquest. The Norman Conquest of England. If I do it in different voices, you think there's many. If you turn the lights off, you think there's lots of people reading this book here. He's got a cost of thousands. Apart from his left leg, which he's got a plaster cast of. Let's just concentrate. Let's not go off at tangents. So, tangent. Didn't they sing Hold Your Head Up? And if it hurts, don't let it get to you. Norman Conquest. The Norman Conquest of England was the 11th century invasion occupation of England by an army of people called Norman. As many of the ensuing jokes were similar to the Franks' jokes of France, it went no further. Even though those jokes are in Book 1. Goodbye. Not this one. These soldiers, I read that so badly. These soldiers were led by what am I saying? These soldiers were led by Duke William III of Normandy, later styled as William the Conqueror, or some sources say William the Honkerer, due to his large nose. William landed in southern England on the 28th of September 1066. King Harold marched south to confront him, as all the trains were on strike. Aren't they bloody well ever? Leaving a significant portion of his army in the north, and the rest of it knackered out by the walk. Harold's army confronted William's invaders on the 14th of October at the Battle of Hastings. William's force defeated Harold, who was killed in the engagement and was not very happy about it at all. The Bayeux tapestry shows Harold being killed by an arrow to the eye, while the Porno tapestry shows him being killed by a 9-foot dildo through his bottom. Hello, Jenny. A further work, the so-called Roadrunner tapestry, shows him being killed by a giant anvil. From 1072 until the Capetian conquest of Normandy in 1204, William and his successors were largely absentee rulers, saying to the English, "Right, you lot, give us your lands, learn to speak French, and stop pissing in these streets." And then he buggered off back to Normandy. Domesday Book. I'm sorry. We might get it done. Domesday Book. At Christmas 1085, William ordered the compilation of a survey of the land holdings held by himself and by his vassals throughout the kingdom, organised by counties. It resulted in a work now known as the Domesday Book, which records the transfer of power from the old Saxon elite to the Normans. By now, only 5% of land was in English hands, with a further 5% hidden under the bedroom carpet. His motives for having the work done are unclear, but it is thought Domesday was a way of legitimising William's kingship, whilst also enabling him to collect taxes more effectively in order to fund paying for all the work that went into making the Domesday Book. The fact that it was thought up at Christmas gives some indication of its origins. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this with the words and the various characters, but anyway, we should try. So, William. Struth, I'm pissed. My head's gonna ache like I've got arrow in it come the morning. Lackey, you certainly know how to tie one on, sire. You've tied one on mine for a start. I got bored with Pinsytail on the donkey. What else can we do for fun? Why not, right, order some of the people who reckon you be as much use as king as a telescope to Harold to, make a list of everything everybody in the country owns and then put it into a book. Yup, that sounds like fun. Now, where can I puke? Cleethorpes. And so it did come to pass. Lackey, a different one. Right, Hedrick Snork, I've come to count everything you own. Why? King William, the well-known conqueror and boozehead, says so. We're counting everyone's everything, and then we're going to put it in a book. A book? What's the point of that? Not going to be much of a page-turner, is it? It will probably still be more interesting than the latest Jeremy Archer. Don't you mean Geoffrey Archer? No. Just to make it perfectly clear to anyone's lawyers, no. You could have said Geoffrey the Archer, the man who shot King Harold. That would have put them off the scent. I never thought of that. You've still got time, he hasn't written the next line yet. We'll let it stand. Anyway, back to the job, let's get started. What are you going to do with all this information? You can't use it for marketing purposes, you know, and I don't want to be kept informed of special offers. Well, not unless they concern Madam Anne of Strumpet. No, nothing like that. We're just going to use the information to tax you. Oh, that's very bloody comforting. Okay, then I don't own anything. It's all in the wife's name. So you've got a wife. Can I have a look at her? Is that part of the job? Sure. I've got to work out what she's worth on the open market. Well, what's the going rate? Depends how far it is she's going. Well, she's slowed up a lot since the last 3 kids. Yeah, she's doing the laundry in the back room there. Have a peek and tell me what you reckon. Quick peek later. I'll see you get a rebate. Right, who lives next door? Oh, that's Algar the Noble Spearman. Nice bloke. He makes spears? No, he's a shoe salesman. Noble Spearsman is his surname. You'll like him. He collects fleas for a hobby. Fuck my luck. The book was completed in 2 parts by August 1086 and was on discount in Amazon outlet 2 weeks later. A monumental task. Nothing of its scale was attempted again in Britain until the 1873 return of owners of land, because no one was that daft until then. William himself was less than pleased with it. Lackey, one or the other of them, you choose. Here you are, sire, your Domesday book, all finished. What do you think? Pause for reading. Not much of a page-turner, is it? Durfwyn of Norfolk owns 2 sheep, a cat named Molly, 3 fish, 2 sets of rags, a truss, the top half of their broken pencil, leases a semi-detached hovel, drives a second-hand yak, annual income sod all. How many pages has this thing got like that? 913. Jeez, I've got to take more water with it. Okay, any wizards in it? Nope. Any nookie? Nope. Okay, does it have a hard-edged cop thrown out of the force for being too much of a maverick who hunts down criminals on the dark mean streets with a cold glint in his eye and a beautiful dame on his arm? Yes, it does. Of course it doesn't. It's a fucking inventory. Well, it's boring. Do it again. Only this time in rhyme. In rhyme? Yeah. Yes. Make it hum. Yes, make it hummable, you know. Athelrod of York got 3 pigs of pork. A daughter you can know, Candice Texas, here was non deductible. Unable to realise when William was joking, the lackey had the job completed by the following August. It would have been done sooner, but he got stuck trying to find a rhyme for the possessions of Blino of Orange. Sometime later, well, what's this? It's the revised Domesday book, sire. Remember, you asked me to do it all over? And did you? Yes, all over fucking England. Do you know how many ducks there are in this country? No? Well, read this, you will do. I've got the frickin' goddamn accents all mixed up. It's the revised Domesday book, sire. Remember, you asked me to do it all over. And did you? Yes, all over fucking England. Do you know how many ducks there are in this country? No. Well, read this, you will do. Look, I've got to be honest with you. I wasn't really being serious. You need to take me with a pinch of salt when I've had a few. Let me make it up to you. Would you like some Burgundy? I don't drink. No, I meant I'd give you a piece of the country. Really? Sure, only first I need to know exactly how many blades of grass there are in Tuscany. You think you're funny? I'm busting a gut. Remember that. NB, in case you're wondering why that tails off at his funeral, William's corpse was too large for his tomb, and when the attendees forced the body into it, it burst apart. True story, folks. The Plantagenet. After the demise of William and the clean-up, I think we're almost out of time here. We've got maybe 3 minutes left to go. Lucky's voiceover. I washed one half of the Abbey in St. Etienne can with normal cleaner, and one half with new improved Zoom. The half I washed with the ordinary cleaner still smelled of the entrails of a late monarch, but the half I cleaned with Zoom smells as fresh as a nun's knickers. Try new improved Zoom yourself if you are taken by surprise by an exploding region, and you'll be amazed at the results. I never go to a funeral without it now, especially on a hot day. Came the Plantagenets, who ruled from 1154 to 1399. That was a long time, wasn't it? The first Plantagenet was King Henry II, whose father owned vast lands in Anjou in France. He was the younger brother of Geoffrey, Count of Nantes. Thus he was more commonly known as King Henry the Sloppy II. His wife Eleanor ruled the even larger territory to the south, called Aquitaine, where he was known as King Henry the Mooch. We might just get to the end of page 35, which is where it pauses. Henry is mostly remembered for his quarrel with Thomas Becket, which led to Becket's murder in Canterbury Cathedral on the 29th of December 1170. So much for Christmas, huh? Becket was slaughtered in the cathedral by 4 knights acting on the rash words of the king, who is said to have proclaimed in a fit of flatulence-fueled temper, "Will no one rid me of this turbulence, please?" I'm so clever sometimes. Unfortunately, this was misheard by the 4 knights as, "Will no one rid me of this turbulent priest?" I've impressed myself with that. Henry was devastated and ordered himself to be lashed hundreds of times as penance, or rather 2 times, but again was misheard. Henry II also introduced what is now known as the Grand Jury through his Assize of Clarendon. They promptly found him guilty of accessory to murder and flatulence and ordered him to be flogged a few hundred times more. "I've already been through this," shouted Henry. "How can you treat an innocent man thus?" "We thought you were black," said the jury, setting a precedent throughout English judicial history. Other exciting things also happened under Henry's rule. 1167, Oxford University established. 1167 in a day, fagging established. 1167 in a day and a half, shops in Oxford completely sold out of Vaseline. 1167 and 2 days, shops in Oxford completely sold out of butter. 1167 and 3 days, Oxford University soprano choir established. Meanwhile, back at the monarchy, Henry was succeeded by Richard I, also known as Richard Coeur de Lion, or Richard the Lionheart, because of his reputation as a great military leader. He was also called Richard the Flabby Willy, as he died childless. His heart was buried at Rouen in Normandy, his entrails in Chalus, where he died, and the rest of his body at the feet of his father in Fontevraud Abbey in Anjou. This led to him being known as Richard the Jigsaw. As Richard produced no legitimate heirs, acknowledged only one illegitimate son, Philip of Cognac, aka Philip of Too Much Cognac, and also Philip the result of a quick knee trembler, he was succeeded by his brother John as King of England. It should have been his sister, Success, who took the throne, but the phrase, "nothing succeeds like success," had not been coined yet. And that's the end of page 35 in G sharp. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, there will be no more, because this is the only copy of this book, and I've got to pack it up and send it to my children, who will throw it in the fire. Peace and love to you all.